Hello, Simtropes, and welcome to Simtropy. Today we'll be doing a church house build that has been converted into a living space by a kind of goth nerdy couple. This was inspired by a build that Deligracy did that was a wellness center that was a converted church, and that made me want to do this build, which is a church that's been converted into living space. It's a more, I guess maybe it's a more Catholic church because the architecture is more fancy, but at the same time, it's just kind of still that little country church feel. I thought about doing a basement because some churches have like a kitchen in the basement, and I figured I could make a kitchen and bedrooms and things out of the old basement space of the kitchen, but I decided that this was a much older church than that, and it didn't have a basement, and it's really only 2 sims, and the inside of this ends up being huge, like way bigger than I realized. When I was building the outside, I did not realize how much space I had on the inside. So yeah, it's a 1-story build. I know it's a 2-story building, but I actually ended up taking the floor and the ceiling out between the 2 floors, so it's just very high, kind of cathedral ceilings because it's church. Imagine that. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun during this build. I had a lot of fun imagining the couple of Sims who would be living there. Here I am realizing it's completely off center and not symmetrical, so I'm fixing that, and the proportions I end up with are perfect. So bear with me as I get to those now. Sorry if my voice is a little weird. My throat feels a little dry. You might hear me going for some water here on and off. I think I just waited too late in the day to record this. It's all of 1:48 p.m. But I am a morning person in the extreme. As soon as it starts to get to be afternoon, my body starts to give up. I don't know why. The earlier I get up, the better. The more energy I have, the more I can get done, because afternoons are just exhausting for some reason. But okay, so here I put these little guys all around the top of the church. This is to give it more of the Gothic church. It makes me feel like it was a Catholic church instead of a Protestant church, just because they're a little more ornate. I don't know what these little things are actually for. Maybe they're like the electric current grounding things or something. But I thought they looked cool along the sides here as just kind of an extra detail, because we don't have really any ornate roofing pieces as far as just roof edges. They're all pretty plain, and I didn't like that. It felt too country church and not quite grand enough. Oh, my throat. I'm so sorry. Going for that water. Sorry, you're probably gonna hear me drink and the cup. Okay, I tried to be as quiet as possible. So yeah, here the outside is coming together. I think it looks very nice. Kind of playing with the right tiles because it was kind of an old church, so I didn't want it to have the nicest looking roof shingles, tiles. Roof shingles, yeah. That's the word, shingles. I'm playing with these little spire things. Oh, see, I'm yawning. Man, I should have recorded this earlier. I edited it earlier, but I didn't actually go ahead and do the recording because I wanted to get some stuff done. And I really didn't get much done except for watching YouTube videos. So I probably should have just recorded the voiceover then when I was fresh. So you're getting me now. So yeah, and that little spire thing I found I didn't know existed. I found a few things that I didn't know existed in this. That's the bell tower. It doesn't have a bell, but I think it looks really cool like that. And yes, I do fix that other window. I know it's cockeyed at the moment. I do realize that here in a minute. But yeah, so while we watch, I guess I'll catch you up on my life. I had my first 2 midterms in grad school, and I got an A on both of them, so that is good. I got a 90 on the one I was really concerned about, and I got a 49.5 out of 50 on the other, so that is really good. I'm happy with that. Grad school and work and trying to make videos is way too much. I think this channel would be a lot farther along had I not decided to do the grad school thing on top of all this. I'm sorry for the break here. I thought I cut more of it out than I did. I was checking my cell phone, talking to a friend, letting them know that I was going to be recording, so I couldn't talk. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't regret the choice of starting grad school now, and I don't regret that I'm going to grad school. I regret that I think the channel could be further along if I wasn't. That I do kind of regret. But yeah, these windows on the sides, I like them big like this, but unfortunately you cannot size up windows. It doesn't keep the hole in the wall sized up. The hole in the wall remains the size of the normal window, so you can't see out the whole window, and it just looks kind of silly. So yeah. Realigning windows. And I thought about putting a window up there, a more ornate window, but in the end the shape of the building just wasn't right for it to be centered properly, so I just went with this. And I think it's perfectly fine. Here I experimented with taking out the floor and the walls here, and you unfortunately can't take out that wall behind the windows because it's part of the roof, so it's structural, so it has to be there. So I ended up putting the floor back in, and I had not yet turned on move objects or this would have worked. But I try to use move objects as sparingly as I can. I try to do the bulk of most of my builds with it turned off, just so everything works the way it's meant to. But usually I give in and turn it on at some point when something's not doing what I want it to do, which you will see me do here. I think when I go inside is when I do that. Oh, my voice. I don't know. Maybe it's kind of sexy scratchy like this. Lining up the shrubs. Lining up the shrubs so they don't clip inside. Removing that floor/ceiling again. I have to do that a couple of times. This is not yet up on the gallery, and this is not the full build. This is the full build of the actual church and the actual living space, but I actually put a cemetery that's out the side. That's why I left this area over to the side. I actually do a full cemetery in there. That's really cool, and that's going to be the second half of the build, and once that is going up, I will upload this to the gallery. So yeah, I was trying to find the right tree, and that tree was okay, but in the end, I really liked that one sized up. It was a little fuller and looked like it had been overgrown a little more, and that's what I was going for. This property hasn't been used as a church in a long time, and when these Sims bought it, it had kind of been taken over, and they've cut back some, but they haven't really bothered with the landscaping all that much. Here I am kind of covering the pavers. The pavers are all grown over. Got a little carried away there, cut it back. And yeah, here I am finding the wallpapers for the outside. I go through a few different things. I decided that all dark was a little too dark. I really liked this, and I ended up going with this. I was afraid it was too bright for kind of the gothic feel I wanted, but I don't know. In the end, I really love it. You know, I mean, you can say they slapped a fresh coat of paint on it when they bought it to get it to this, because it doesn't look as run down as it could, but I really like it. I think that looks very realistic. I think it fits well in Windenburg. It's very Windenburg colors, and this is actually in Windenburg, so I think that's nice. This didn't work because of the, there's actually a trellis behind that one. This one doesn't have the trellis, so it works better for just overgrown stuff. The first one doesn't because of you can see the trellis. I was trying to figure out where to put these climbing flowers. They look like kind of like a morning glory. They're not really clematis shaped. I'm not sure what they are. I haven't looked that close. I don't know if it says or not, but I wanted those in there, and I think they look great right there. They look like they've just taken over. And yeah, I think that is the outside for the most part. I am going to put some bushes in the back here. And if I make the tall bushes, the oversized bushes, unfortunately, they clip into the inside really bad. So I end up taking those out and just putting the small bushes, the regular size bushes, like this. See, my reasoning behind that is that, you know, maybe when they remodeled, the old bushes were in the way and blocking those big windows, and they wanted the windows to be clear, so they cut down the back bushes. Okay, and in here, this idea I had immediately when I was watching, like I said, when I was watching Delicacy do her church build. I wanted, in my build, to do an altar area, using kind of the split level effect that you can get if you cut out the floor and just use the foundation level and then do stairs. So that's what I did. There is the altar section. And I don't know, oh, I had turned on move objects at this point because it let me move that out over those stairs. And I don't even realize that they're still there and they didn't get deleted. You'll see what I'm talking about. That shadow that's in the altar area is actually the stairs underneath it now, which does not look right at all. Get a little light, shed some light on this. Yeah, there I'm about to put new stairs in, and I realize that I can't because the old stairs are still there. Yep, can't put those there. Why the heck not? Oh, because there are still stairs under there. That's why. So I have to scoot that back, delete the stairs, move it forward, and then I can put the stairs in. Get everything moved where it needs to go. Ta-da! And there you go. This area, I wanted that to be like the bathroom and the kitchen. And I was just going to put doors with stairs leading up to it. But you can't really do that. The stairs won't go clear up to the door without a little landing. So what I ended up doing is bringing that out. And I think that works pretty perfect. The layout of this church actually reminds me of the church I grew up in. When you walked in the door, on either side, there was like a place for coats on one side and a bathroom on the other, and then down two little hallways on either side was the Sunday school classrooms, and then the big main area was like this one. So I guess that's why I went with this and why it felt right in a church. I don't know if you saw, I put the spooky door because remember the people that renovated this are kind of gothy, kind of alternative, and they liked the kind of spooky factor of living in an old church. So they used that gothy looking door with the little horned guy on it. That was last Halloween they gave those out. I think there was a contest and you had to vote on them maybe, and then they ended up just releasing both. So this cozy little kitchen, it's just of course an add-on. I don't know, maybe there was a kitchen there for the church, but I doubt it. And here I am just trying to get the layout right because I wanted it to just be a little nook, and I didn't want you to be able to really see any of the kitchen stuff coming down that hallway. So I expand the wall, I play with these silly cupboards forever, and then I end up taking it back down, as you'll see in a minute, because I didn't want that one block hallway there. I wanted less. So what I ended up doing is moving this little cabinet piece that's next to the stove and putting the stove where it is here in just a second. Like that. It's there. It fits in there perfectly. It is a perfectly little workable kitchen. I think it's adorable. And this table, I knew where I wanted it from the beginning. Just kind of on this little landing. And it's cute and everything. I end up putting this little candelabra that I find right there because I was looking for candle. This wasn't what I was looking for when I put candle in the search bar. The candles I want are not there. So you'll see me here kind of searching for the candles I want and not finding them at first. Get the floor in, and I'm going to use my little trick where I put a little fence in between as like the tack row. In between floorings. Here I'm looking for the walls. What I find, I think, ends up being perfect. I really love what I end up going with. It's not this cement block. The cement block wasn't quite right. And I found this, and I think this totally makes it in here. And maybe this is what the church was originally made of. Maybe it's a lot older than it looks on the outside, and the outside is a new facade. Is kind of my thought process. So yeah, change that, get the foundation that matches, and perfect. Looking for the perfect little rug. We end up going back to that one, I think. Oh, excuse me. Here we go, size it up a little. And then I decided I really needed to find the candles I was looking for. And I couldn't find them, and I realized they came with movie stuff pack. Movie Hangouts. So I took it down to Movie Hangouts, and there they are. That's what I wanted on the table, but they take up, unfortunately, the whole entire table. So we had to get a bigger table, which fits in there just fine and is exactly the look I was going for. Because these Sims are kind of gothy, nerdy, bohemian type. I wanted them to have that little mix of candles there. I thought that suited their personality. And then this little guy, I totally didn't even know it existed until a few months ago. And it's just an interesting little piece for them to have included, I think. It's pretty unique. That little sideboard. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to sneeze on you guys. That'd be terrible. I'm sorry. Okay, it's passing. Not going to sneeze. I am going to go for more water though, so forgive me. It's much better. I did use the little sugar skull shelf here because I think it fits because it's a church. I haven't actually used it in my gameplay yet because I find it a little appropriative. I don't know if I should feel like that or not, but I kind of do. So I haven't actually used it in gameplay, but I think it fits into this build appropriately. Since it is like an old Catholic church. There we go. I like the candy bowl. I think it fits in well with these being kind of nerdy Sims. Kind of Halloween themed. And I mean, it is close to Halloween, so this is kind of a Halloween build. That's why I wanted to do it now. I actually had this idea. I mean, I say that I was completely inspired by Delicacy's build, but that's not entirely true. I had started to come up with it before she even posted that. I had thought about doing a renovated church for Halloween. That was just what kind of spurred me forward. So yeah, this little thing, I don't quite like it there. So I move it down here. It'll become part of the office. I'm just trying to find the thing that goes above this. I thought about the Day of the Dead flowers. I decided against that. It wasn't quite right. A lot of things weren't quite right. I didn't like the clown in the end. The clown was a little too cheesy. So I move it back to its original position. And then I find this guy. which I knew had to be in this house because these are totally the kind of Sims that would have a suit of armor right as you walk in the door. The people that lived in this apartment before I did had a suit of armor. I know because I lived in another apartment in this complex, and so I saw the people moving out of this one before I was going to move into it. And I saw them moving out a full suit of armor, which I'm a little sad they didn't leave because I would have totally kept that. We used that big painting of that lady there. I think that was great in that space. And then I put a coat rack over by the night, and then I put shoes there to kind of give it kind of a believability, like it's actually lived in. It's practical, a practical entryway. Rugs. We're getting better with rugs in The Sims 4, but it's still not perfect. Of course, got to use the candelabras. Down here, I decided to go with carpet. I do later a strip in the middle of wood. But for the main part, we go with the pretty, like, I don't know, brocade is not the word I'm looking for, but the patterned carpet. And of course, Mr. Skeleton. Totally the kind of Sims that would have a skeleton in their house, right? The future cube. Oh, future cube, we love you. I end up putting the incense back there later. And here, putting some ambient spider webs. That one was a little big. It looked a little fake. So I took it back down. Took that down a notch. Oh, there's where I turn move objects on to do this, because I decided that I wanted to make a little area of clutter over here in the kind of office area. I needed to be able to stack stuff. I really like how the personality of these Sims starts to come together. I might do a Kaz for a little group of Sims. What I would actually like to do is take Cassandra Goth and create her a nice partner, and then do genetics between them and create a Sim maybe to live here who is of the Goth lineage. I think I want to name her Cleopatra. Cleopatra Goth. Maybe I'll do a let's play of that. Since I decided not to do, you may notice that the videos for Ground Up have disappeared. I started to actually play that game, and it was too dark. It wasn't like fun dark. It got a little creepy, a little more creepy than I was comfortable with. Like just playing it didn't feel right. So I'm not going to do it. I may revamp it and do it later, but for the first Let's Play on the channel, I don't mind a creepy vibe, but I don't want something that's just downright disturbing. And that was starting to feel downright disturbing. He ended up, trapping the first victim in his basement, and it just felt weird. It didn't feel fun. It felt creepy. In a bad way. There's creepy in a good way, and there's creepy in a bad way, and it was creepy in a bad way. So I won't be doing Ground Up right now. Still debating what my first Let's Play is going to be. And if I'm even any good at doing Let's Plays and commentating while I'm playing, I don't even know. So we shall see about that. But maybe I will use this house and create that next generation of goths. The problem is there's really not any room for a kid's room. I guess I could make the bathroom smaller if I needed to and put a kid's room there. A tiny kid's room. Because that bathroom is huge. Like, I didn't realize how big that bathroom was until I started trying to furnish it, and then it was like, wow. And here we go. I just left the main area here with those two pews. I know it's really dark and you maybe can't even see them, but the two like church-looking pews there just facing the TV, like they're still in rows, like they're still where they were when this was a church. And I really think that's a cute effect. And over here, I really like this area, using the artists, all the artist unlocks. I love that still life unlock. I used it in my art gallery build that I never actually got to put up because it wouldn't render properly. And it's a super fun item, and I just like how that whole area turns out over there. I think it looks super awesome. Here I am looking for the little artist stand to sit next to, I was looking for those there, but I start looking for the little artist stand. It took me forever to find that, because it's not where you think it would be. I think it's under statues, which seems really odd. But yeah, I love how that whole little artist corner turns out. I like how the space is divided up in this build. It is completely open build, completely open floor plan. The only thing that actually has 4 walls is the bathroom. And I just love how the space is divided up. I think this is so realistic. If you just had this big area to live in, you would just divide it up how you needed it to use the space. And I think that's what this does. And I really love it. So yeah, I put in some flooring there, and I use those strips of fence as like the carpet tacks on either side. I think that's very realistic, and it works well. You can put anything on top of it. It doesn't interfere with the Sims at all. So yeah, looking for some more lighting. There was a cut there, you see, because I cut to do some texting, and then I forgot to turn it back on again right away. So I added a light, so there's a little more light, and then I actually did this and then deleted it because I realized that I needed to start recording again, and did it again. This is the gaming area, because these Sims are obviously tabletop gamers for sure. Yeah. So I was going to leave that little wine rack there, but I decided they needed a place for like their rule books and things for their tabletop games. And so we end up with this chest to put stuff in, and then like the core books and, character sheets and everything lying around. When I think tabletop gaming, of course, I think Dungeons and Dragons, because that's what I was raised on, but I know it's a whole different world now. So assume all their board games are in that chest. And I also, to kind of make it feel like that's what that was, I put some posters on the walls, some fantasy posters. You can take those off if you think they're too silly, but I think they add something to that little area, showing that it's role-playing, it's tabletopping that's going on there. One or the other, or both. So yeah, I think that's totally fun. And that is, of course, the card table, so they can actually play cards at it. I'm sorry I don't really ever add any lights to the middle so you can see those church pews. But yeah, here is the bedroom. If you hadn't guessed already, the altar is where they will be sleeping. Yeah, that's happening. At first I thought I was just going to put this screen here. And so I went and looked at all the screens to try to find the best screen, because they needed some sort of privacy since that's all open. But I wasn't sure which screen was the best, and I picked that one. And then I start putting more bedroomy stuff up here. And that just didn't feel right, the way it was dividing the space. So I moved these over here. And I really like how this little space over here turns out. Go with that screen. It goes with the mirror, I think. And I don't know why that screen doesn't come up when you do screen. The kids screen doesn't come up when you search for screen, which is weird. They just forgot to put the tag in, I guess. See, I moved that screen and I decided to do a half wall, because they could have easily built that. I think that looks much better. And I like the little clothes hamper over there, because the white in the screen allows you to introduce some white. I wanted a rug, but there was no rug that was perfect for that space. So we didn't end up with a rug. Trying to find the right mirror. Eventually I go with the mirror that goes with the screen and the other mirror. And then I just was not happy with the fact that there are only 2 slots on this. It turns out there are 3 slots, but the one only works in certain circumstances. It's really super annoying because you cannot clutter up the top of that. So I decided to put some shelves in so I could get all the stuff I wanted. I had to use the 9 key there to get those nail polishes up there, but the rest of the stuff just went on there naturally. That's just natural, and then this little guy here just goes on there. So yeah, and see, there is a 3rd spot right there. You can put 2 things in that spot, like perfectly naturally. Isn't that weird? And then I realized that these boxes totally just naturally went under there, that there were spots for them under there, and that is super cool. Who knew that, huh? So yeah, a little more of the cluttered feel. This I wrestled with because I remembered, I found these and remembered they existed. And I wanted to put them kind of leaning up there, but if you turn, that one's hanging off the edge. So I knew I wanted them somewhere, so I just played with them forever, and they ended up right there, and I think that's perfect. It blocks off that little walkway, but I don't know if it was big enough to be a walkway anyway, so it's fine. I think they're just perfect though. And see, there's another spot where I could put that. There are more slots on that than there seem to be, but there aren't a lot of things that can go into them, which is frustrating. And put the spooky painting back because I wanted the spooky painting to be somewhere, because those are the paintings that came with the spooky stuff pack, and they actually turn creepy while you're looking at them in game. They will occasionally just turn like skeleton faced and creepy. And then over here is the silly corner where, and I love that guitar right there. That was this year that they introduced that. I hadn't actually seen it yet, and it's super cool. So yeah. Yeah, but anyway, I thought about maybe a yoga mat, but then I decided to go full on like silly over here because I wanted the pumpkin station for sure. I wanted that to be something that they had access to because they would be the type that would like to make jack-o'-lanterns, I think. And then I remembered that spooky aquarium that I had wanted to use. So I kind of made a little focal point out of it in this little corner, like collectibles and things. They can have their postcards, and yeah, I don't think it throws off the whole kind of gothy vibe because these are very like gothy nerdy Sims, and I think it's perfect for them. You will notice I just put that curtain up behind the bed, and my thought process there may be kind of blasphemous, but this is how I feel about it. That is where the big crucifix is on the wall, and they were kind of creeped out sleeping underneath a giant crucifix, so they put that curtain up to cover it. That is my headcanon for that. I mean, you can take that down, you can leave it up, you can think that that's not why that's there, whatever you want. But in my mind, that is why that's there, because they just didn't want that like staring at them while they were trying to sleep. And maybe it was run down and maybe it looked a little creepy. But yeah, I think we are almost done with this interior. Yeah, just the bathroom. The bathroom was a little hard because it's such a huge space. I didn't realize, like I said, I didn't realize how big it was. Let me take a drink again. Sorry, drinking noises. Yeah, but it's such a huge space. I didn't realize how big it was. I didn't really want to make it any smaller though because it matches the other side. And in the end, I think it turns out okay. I would have liked to have something in the middle of the floor, and I look for something to put there, but I never really find anything. So another spooky painting, because what better place than right above the toilet for a painting that's going to turn into a skeleton face? Yeah, I really like that though with the curtain over it. I think that's great. See a lot of mirrors in here. Lots of mirrors. Lots of mirrors, and of course the toilet paper roll. And this is the kind of family that would have more than one skeleton in their house. And I love putting skeletons in bathrooms. My bathroom is done in skeletons, and in The Sims, I have two different bathrooms on the gallery that have skeletons in them. I just think skeletons are a fun bathroom decor. So yeah, I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked and looked and looked for something to put in there. But in the end, I don't know, there was just nothing that was quite right. That I thought was clever because there's no storage in this bathroom and they needed a place to put like paper towels and cleaning supplies and everything. So there's that wonderful little green bin that just sits next to the sink. I think it adds to the clutter and the livability and the realism of this build, which is what I love about this build. It feels so real to me. Like I would live here and this is how I would live here. And yeah, I just love how real this feels. And I don't know if it feels that way to you, but it just feels like a place that is actually lived in. I don't know what I was looking for here. Oh, there we go. I do this little thing, which I think also adds to the realism and the livability with the little pink towels. I think that's so cute. And then I was looking for something to put on that wall, but in the end, I think I like it just plain. You don't want things too cluttered, unrealistically cluttered. And here we are just doing the top floor. I wasn't sure at first if I want to do the same wall because of the line that would be in the middle, because that wall only comes with floorboards, but in the end it's what I went with. And I think it's okay because it makes the cobwebs where they're settled a little better, a little more realistic. And that top room isn't right, so I had to go back out and paint the outside again. So yeah, just a few more details coming up here. I just love how that looks in here. Added 2 more rows of pews. I think that is super cute. When you had people over and you need more sitting area to watch TV, you could just sit in the pews, watch TV. I think that added something. I don't know, I like it. A little side table with a phonograph. I think that's very these Sims. I think that makes sense. And you can pretend it's like got a little alarm clock and everything. It's where they put their iPhone. I think that means moved out from the wall a little bit. I wanted to put this big clock somewhere, and maybe I could have put it in the bell tower had I thought about it, but I think it was probably too big. And I like, this is like the final thing is these fans, because you would need circulation in this big room. These fans would be crucial. There would probably be more of them sitting around. But yeah, the computer was a little hard because it sticks out over the front of this desk, which I thought was strange. And then this big painting here, and you know, I think we're coming to the end. So yeah, thank you for joining me on this adventure into Centropy, and I can't wait to share the rest of the build with you soon.